What we're learning even more is how the broader environments that surround caregivers, the natural environment, the built environment, the kind of historical and social environments that shape the conditions and places and contexts in which families raise children, all have critical influences on the kind of health and developmental outcomes we hope to see for our kids. So what does that mean? What that means is that it's up to all parts of society to understand how they play a part in helping ensure that each generation of young children are being set up for success in as many ways as possible. And that's through supporting the caregivers themselves. It can be through ensuring there's access to good healthcare and education and other supportive services in communities. Others can be focusing on what does the natural environment look like? Are there access to parks, to playgrounds, to good food? So while this can sound complicated, it's really a matter of how do each of us and each of the actors in our societies understand their relationship to the science of what's happening in early development. And in that way, collectively, we can be working towards better outcomes for kids. And those outcomes also become part of what helps all of us create and sustain the kinds of societies we want to live in. We know what can work in terms of programs and services and interventions. We know how important the relationship of caregivers and supporting those caregivers, how important that is for kids' development. I think our challenge is how do we move from an orientation towards supporting the caregiver and shifting towards an orientation of how are we creating and these supportive, what we might call developmental environments. And what that helps us understand is that the burden and for ensuring kids grow up healthy and with good outcomes isn't just on their families. And so we have to understand what else do we need to be providing that creates these environments in which families can raise kids, adults can get employment, that the systems that are part of our societies are aligned with what we know about how development happens, what influences it for good and for bad, and what factors are happening or influencing that within our society. So I think that's our challenge